Hello everyone, Joel here. If you thought your social life stood a chance this year, I have terrible news for your friends, your family, and your neglected pets. Today, we are deep diving into the absolute peak of tactical supremacy. 25 insane, grid-shifting, brain-melting tactical and strategy RPGs that are either freshly dropped or hovering over your wallet right now. We're talking massive franchises getting legendary glow-ups, indie darlings ready to ruin your sleep schedule, and enough turn-based depth to make your brain short-circuit. Before we go into the list, I want to give you my recommendation for some of the best deals in instant gaming right now, especially if you're tight on budget. We knew that instant gaming always give us so many crazy deals for your favorite games, like these titles for example. I mean, can you believe these prices? If you love RPGs, there's no way you never heard of these masterpieces, and to think that you can get them under $10 or even $5, it's an absolute steal. All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games and use the activation code on your chosen platform. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. First up, Frontier and Complex Games just dropped a massive bombshell at Warhammer Skulls. They are officially bringing us back to the grimdark meat grinder. Forget Nurgle's pimple-popping simulator from Demon Hunters. This time we are commanding the elite alien hunting boys of the Deathwatch. You get to mash together a squad of absolute units from different Space Marine chapters, mix their classes, and stomp out everything from Genestealers to Orcs. The developers are heavily focusing on the brutal harmony between long-range cover fire and getting up close and personal to saw Xenos in half with chainswords. It's coming to PC and consoles later this year, so prepare your wallets to serve the Emperor once again.
Our worlds, our lives, our Imperium. Against this unending tide, we make our stand.
Imagine if XCOM had a beautiful high-budget love child with the Clone Wars, and it was raised by former Firaxis developers. That is exactly what BitReactor and Respawn are cooking up. You play as Hawks, leading a squad of galactic misfits, mercenaries, and fully customizable explosive-loving astromech droids. The biggest selling point? They actually committed to permadeath. Between missions, you hang out at your base, resolving interpersonal squad drama like a sci-fi camp counselor. It features gorgeous third-person exploration sections that blend seamlessly into punishing top-down grid combat. It's dropping this year, so prepare to accidentally blow up your favorite droid.
But that's the job, and they get it done.
Tactical Adventures just unleashed this absolute beast into early access, and they chose violence by sticking religiously to the SRD 5.2 rule set, while Baldur's Gate 3 cowered it out on some of the most hardcore pedantic D&D mechanics. This game looks at you and says, no, you will track your light sources and verticality. It runs beautifully on Unreal Engine 5, taking us to a fresh mana-infused continent to guide 4 chaotic siblings trying to stop a shady entity named Shadwin. They even hired iconic voice actors like Ben Starr and Amelia Tyler to yell at you while your digital dice roll consecutive natural ones. It supports 4-player co-op, so you can ruin your real friendships too. Ubisoft and Hooded Horse decided to resurrect the grandfather of strategy RPGs, and the community is collectively losing its mind. This is a glorious, nostalgic prequel set on the classic continent of Jadam. You get to manage 6 distinct factions, including the newly revealed bug-infested Hive and the edgy classic Necropolis. The game introduces massive tactical additions like faction laws, which let you tweak your empire's mechanics using a special currency. The loop is as addictive as ever. Explore a dense fog of war, hoard glittering treasures like an absolute goblin, and engage in high-stakes hex combat where your spellcaster can casually drop meteors from across the screen. It is an absolute strategic masterclass.
what matters.
Switching gears from giant space armor to the poor souls doing the dirty work in the shadows. This is a dark, gritty tactical RPG where you aren't an invincible super soldier. You're an inquisitorial acolyte who can be casually deleted by a low-level cultist with a pipe. The selling point here is pure investigative tension mixed with claustrophobic, high-lethal turn-based skirmishes. You have to navigate seedy hive cities, filter through heretical conspiracies, and manage your squad's creeping insanity levels. One bad roll and your favorite sniper might just develop a psychological fixation with chaos tentacles. It's punishing, deeply atmospheric, and perfect for anyone who thinks regular Warhammer games are way too nice to the players.
Vigilance takes all that you will ever be. And we shall do our duty.
I only want to fight so I can save my father's life.
Intelligence Systems is back to hold your hand and then violently rip your heart out. This entry heavily leans into a high-stakes Destiny mechanic where you can weave alternate timelines mid-battle to fix your horrific tactical blunders. Visually, it's an absolute jaw-dropper, moving away from overly sanitized 3D models back to a highly stylized, dynamic art style that feels incredibly premium. Expectedly, the classic social simulation mechanics are dialed up to 11, meaning you'll spend half your time engineering optimal combat pairs and the other half playing anime matchmaker. Just remember, when permadeath is toggled on, your favorite waifu or husbando is always just one stray critical hit away from an early grave.
There's a man I hate so much that simply killing him will not satisfy me. For that reason, I refuse to die.
If you miss the golden era of classic 16-bit strategy RPGs, this pixel art masterpiece launching on May 28 is going to steal your soul. You follow a tomboy warrior named Star and her childhood mage friend Yu on a quest to find a wish-granting star. But don't let the cute aesthetic fool you. The combat features a wildly deep card-based system alongside visceral counter and combo mechanics. When you trigger an ultimate skill, the game transitions into these breathtaking hand-drawn 2D anime cutscenes that will make your eyes melt. It's got deep strategic depth, professional voice acting, and a level of retro charm that modern high-budget games just can't replicate. Next up, Iron Ward, the brilliant madman behind the Red Solstice, are completely shifting gears to drop a massive fantasy atomic bomb on June 8th. Imagine if Heroes of Might and Magic, Age of Wonders, and Dune had a gorgeous high-fidelity baby. You play as an ancient almighty elder sorcerer trying to ascend to full godhood in a world torn apart by dark magic. The hybrid loop here is spectacular. You're moving heroes around a gorgeous open-world map in real time, but the absolute second you clash with an enemy, it flips into deep tactical turn-based grid warfare. You aren't just commanding regular troops either. You get to use arcane magic to literally mutate your units into horrific powerhouses. It's a lore-heavy map-painting dream. If you're waiting for Olden era but desperately need that classic Heroes of Might and Magic 3 gameplay loop injected directly into your veins right now, look no further. Originally known as Silence of the Siren, Oxymoron Games officially dropped the full 1.0 version of Heroes of Science and Fiction this past March, and it is an absolute banger. It completely translates classic hex grid fantasy army battles into a gorgeous, vibrant sci-fi universe. You get 5 wildly creative factions to command, including the UNSS Space Humans, robotic cyberbugs, and a faction of communist space moles called the Fossorians, who throw overwhelming ground numbers at your face. You'll explore alien worlds, hoard polymers and biomass, build up massive high-tech bases, and level up commanders with deep RPG skill trees like the Chessmaster trait, which lets you reposition your entire army before the bloodbath even begins. Next, the cult favorite Toaster Worshippers just officially dropped their full game on May 21st, and the soundtrack alone is enough to awaken your ancient robotic desires. Bulwark Studios completely threw out the old dungeon crawling layout for a massive planetary war, where you can play two separate campaigns, one as the cybernetic Adeptus Mechanicus, and for the first time, one as the Awakening Necron Legions. And yes, they finally added a full cover system to the game. In fact, it features fully destructible environment mechanics, meaning the Mechanicus can hide behind walls, while the relentless Necrons can blow that cover to absolute pieces or literally drop a pillar to crush your squad. Think Battle Brothers, but injected with a heavy dose of high fantasy, high adventure, and modern quality of life features. You are managing a mercenary company traveling across a dynamic, highly volatile sandbox world full of political backstabbing and monster outbreaks. The turn-based grid combat is incredibly brutal, emphasizing directional shielding, weapon reach, and crippling status effects that can turn your Star Swordsman into a permanent liability. You have to balance budgets, pay your troop wages, treat horrific festering battle wounds, and keep morale high so your squad doesn't desert you in the middle of a swamp. It is a grueling, deeply addictive simulation of running a lethal fantasy business. The chaotic, fast-paced auto-battler strategy hybrid returns with a massive vengeance. You build your town, explore a beautifully randomized overworld map in traditional turn-based fashion, but the absolute second combat starts, hundreds of units charge each other in a glorious, real-time pixelated bloodbath. The sequel adds massive complex spell trees, highly unique faction mechanics, and cooperative map modes. The main selling point is the sheer, unadulterated scale of the battles, where a single well-placed spell from your leveled-up hero can turn 50 enemy goblins into a fine red mist simultaneously. It's fast, incredibly colorful, and perfect for strategy fans who lack patience. Next up, if you think inventory management is the true endgame of any good strategy RPG, this solo developer masterpiece that dropped on April 21st is going to trigger your inner hoarder. Cosmos Point is a brutally tight, turn-based tactical extraction game where you command a squad of Scavengers dropping into a massive graveyard of derelict spaceships. The absolute main selling point here is the absurdly detailed equipment system. You aren't just picking a gun, you have to balance backpack grid space, armor weight, custom attachments, and manually pack physical magazines. Every mission is a massive gamble because permadeath is real, and if a squad member gets wiped, their top-tier loot is gone unless a teammate can drag it back to your upgradable space station. Soul Survivor Games and Forklift Interactive dropped an absolute bomb of a Steam demo this past February, and the entire tactical community is collectively calling it Sci-Fi Battle Brothers. You are managing a desperate company of criminal, bloodthirsty mercenaries navigating a brutal galactic imperium that absolutely detests your existence. The selling point here is pure, unadulterated procedural sandbox survival. You're hopping across randomized planets, managing contracts, balancing payroll, and engaging in incredibly punishing grid-based, turn-based skirmishes. Your mercs can specialize in everything from energy shields and high-tech hacking to heavy laser rifles and devastating melee builds. Just remember that permadeath is strictly turned on. If your favorite sniper takes a plasma bolt to the face, they are gone for good.
The crystal.
The Retocalypse continues in this dark, incredibly stressful steampunk survival tactics sequel. You are guiding a desperate group of human survivors through a decaying, rain-slicked city completely overrun by hordes of mutated, bloodthirsty vermin. The combat is a frantic, high-stakes sprint where resources like ammo and medical supplies are so scarce you'll literally fight over a single crate of scrap. The sequel introduces deeper character interactions, unique psychological trauma traits, and massive mechanical defense options to help you hold out against overwhelming odds. It is an exhausting, beautiful exercise in stress management where every single spent bullet feels like an absolute luxury. Hooded Horse is preparing to drop a massive Bronze Age tribal tactical bomb later this year. The Way of Wrath gives you exactly 10 in-game days to explore a harsh, superstitious valley, unite warring clans, manage a fort, and prepare your defenses before a relentless enemy army arrives to turn your people into a historical footnote. The biggest selling point here is pure combat freedom. You can completely toggle between grid-free real-time with pause or traditional turn-based tactical combat depending on how much micromanagement your brain can handle. It also features a completely classless skill progression system, weapon durability, and an AI that tracks your reputation. Call yourself the truthful and people respect you. Act like a tyrant and your own tribe might stage a mid-siege coup. Team 17 just dropped one of the most wildly creative tactical mashups of the year on May 7th. Wardrum is what happens if you take a punishing grid-based, turn-based roguelite and force it to have a beautiful love child with Guitar Hero. You are leading a tribal warband across a harsh fantasy world to fight a corrupting offbeat magic, and the core hook here is pure rhythmic execution. When you select a unit's attack or spell on the tactical grid, you have to hit custom button prompts perfectly in time with a scrolling visual marker and the pulsing tribal beat. It features deep character builds, environmental hazards you can push enemies into, and an incredibly addictive run-based loop that will completely hijack your brain's rhythm center. Next, prepare to lose your entire summer because the grandfather of grand-scale anime conquest is officially back. Happynet and NIS America just locked in an August release date for this absolute beast, and they even dropped a surprise PC demo you can play right now. Forget minor skirmishes. This is a massive continent-spanning territorial war simulator. You pick one of 6 completely distinct nations trying to stop the edgy, resurrected Abysslo Empire. The gameplay loop is pure digital crack. A deeply satisfying organization phase where you move troops and summon giant mythical monsters like a fantasy mob boss, followed by high-stakes hexagon grid battles. It is massive, incredibly flashy, and tailored specifically for map-painting sociopaths who love total global domination. Black Anchor and Webzen just unleashed this incredibly dark, beautifully animated pixel art tactical nightmare. The game drops you into a shattered medieval metropolis engulfed by an apocalyptic dark shroud that transforms citizens into grotesque swarming monsters. You can only deploy 3 specialized survivors at a time against literally dozens of enemies, forcing you to rely entirely on cold steel, flawless positioning, and the unique abilities of your custom squad. There is absolutely no guns or magic here, just pure tactical grit. You collect over 130 unique memory fragments to customize your survivors while managing their fading willpower. It's an incredibly intense, beautifully atmospheric tactical triumph. This is a brilliant, completely unhinged hybrid that asks, what if classic 90s survival horror games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill use turn-based grid tactics? You control an elite operative scavenging a massive virus-infested metropolis for a potential cure. The level design is a masterclass in classic survival horror, filled with atmospheric puzzles, locked doors, and a terrifyingly limited inventory system. The turn-based combat is incredibly tense, where managing your limited ammo counts, facing horrifying mutated abominations, and calculating sightlines determines whether you survive the night. It is an absolute must-play for horror fans looking for a fresh, deeply strategic nightmare. This absolute massive space opera RPG has been quietly evolving into a literal dream game for hardcore strategy enthusiasts. It features a staggering, fully explorable sandbox universe with thousands of star systems, letting you live out your ultimate sci-fi fantasy. The ground combat is a beautifully deep turn-based AP system that rewards precise squad synergy, heavy weapon specialization, and tactical positioning. Space combat is equally robust, allowing you to manage ship components and engage in massive tactical fleet battles. The developers keep dropping substantial game-changing updates, making the universe feel incredibly alive, deep, and ready to consume hundreds of hours of your life. The ultimate spiritual successor to classic retro XCOM is still delivering some of the most satisfyingly brutal alien defense strategy on the market. You are managing a secret international military organization during an alternate Cold War era, trying to defend Earth from a terrifyingly coordinated extraterrestrial invasion. The game pulls absolutely no punches. Your soldiers will miss a point-blank 99% shot, panic, and accidentally blow up their own squad mates with a plasma grenade. The balance between managing global panic on the geoscape and fighting tense fog-of-war turn-based battles on the ground is utterly perfect. It is pure, unadulterated tactical masochism at its absolute finest. Seismic Squirrel just dropped this incredible decopunk masterwork, and it is easily one of the most stylish RPG triumphs of 2026. Set in an alternate, gravity-defying 1930s New York, where the rich live in floating skyblocks, you play a cynical underworld smuggler. When diplomacy fails, conflicts are settled through a brilliant isometric turn-based vehicular combat system on floating roads. You can customize your ether-powered rides with smoke dispensers, hidden cargo bays, and actual flamethrowers. The writing is top-tier film noir poetry, featuring over 200 fully voiced characters, dark mobster jokes, and an incredible soundtrack that makes crime feel incredibly sophisticated. Team Meat has been working on this bizarre, completely unhinged tactical cat breeding RPG for what feels like an eternity, and it is pure, beautiful madness. You are essentially a crazy cat person managing a house full of procedurally generated, incredibly mutated felines. You breed them, pass down bizarre genetic traits, and then send them out into tactical, grid-based, turn-based battles against grotesque monsters. The humor is cartoonish, incredibly gross, and heavily packed with adult-themed dirty jokes that will make you question your life choices. Beneath the absolute absurdity lies a genuinely deep, incredibly complex statistical strategy game that will completely ruin your sanity. Taking the absolute #1 spot on everyone's radar is the next masterpiece from Overhype Studios, the legendary creators of Battle Brothers. They are trading the low fantasy mercenaries for a high-tech, incredibly gritty sci-fi military operation on a lawless frontier planet. You command a massive strike force consisting of infantry, heavy tanks, and soaring mechs against rogue corporate armies, alien threats, and brutal pirate factions. The tactical depth is entirely unmatched, featuring realistic suppression mechanics, full environmental destruction, and permanent squad injuries that will make you weep. It is shaping up to be the absolute definitive tactical strategy RPG of the entire year. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are other games that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your favorites that probably deserve the spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!